Ciao, bentornati! Welcome back to PILLOLE D'ITALIANO. This is episode 38 and today we're going to do something special. We are going to focus on pronunciation, especially when it comes to double consonants, which is something that trips a lot of people, especially English speakers. In Italian, oftentimes, there is a difference between a word and its correspective with a double consonant. So you have to be very careful at pronouncing those double consonants when they're required so that you can make that distinction and people will not get lost in what you're trying to say. I am pretty sure that you're all familiar with that classic misunderstanding from pene, penne, or ano, anno. I'm not going to get too much into details here. I'm trying to keep this channel PG-13, but go check it out on your own. What I'll do today is to focus on 6 different pairings of words that are less known or less expected so that we could also enrich your vocabulary. Here we go. The first double consonant we're going to work with is the double L, such as in the word polo, pollo. Polo with one L. Polo is the pole, like the North Pole. Polo. Pollo with 2 L's, pollo is a chicken. So how do we mark that distinction? Lingering on that L. Polo, pollo, pollo. Now I'm exaggerating, of course. If I were to be using that word chicken, the one with the double L, in everyday conversation, I would just say pollo. But I'm trying to make super clear that there is a double L there, and I would encourage you to sound a bit silly by lingering on that L more and longer than it is comfortable for you. Because if you just do it the Italian way, then you will sound as if you were saying polo. Trust me on that. A lot of American speakers that I work with teaching them Italian make that same mistake. So they think that they're really lingering on that. Do it more than you would normally do, even if it sounds like an exaggeration, because what we have in our head is always like more than what we are actually doing and saying with our mouths. So trust me on this. Do not rely on your perception of how you sound. The best thing you could do if you don't have an Italian speaker, next to you, or if you don't work directly with me, is to record yourself so that you can re-listen and really hear if you're making a distinction or not, really paying attention. Use the words that I will introduce you to today and practice. So the first pairing is polo, pollo. Moving on to the second one, cane versus canne. Cane, one N, or canne, 2 N's. Cane with one N means dog. Canne, 2 N's, so I'm lingering. Canne is the plural of canna, and canne means reeds or canes, so those like long plants that grow next to marshlands, for example. Canne. The one with one N, once more, is cane. So can you perceive, can you hear how I'm not lingering on the one with one N? Cane. Of course, I'm pronouncing the N, but not really staying there. Canne. I'm really lingering on that N and expanding and extending that sound. Third pairings. Capello versus cappello. Capello, cappello. Capello is one hair, the hair that grows on your head, because we have a different word for hair, body hair. But capello, one P, capello is one hair, cappello, 2 P's, cappello is a hat. So here you really want to make that distinction clear so that if you're talking about wearing a hat or not having a hat, people will understand that you're not bald. Cappello, the one with 2 P's, is the hat. Now, the letter P is a bit different from the other letters, the other consonants that we've seen so far, because L, N, those are consonants that you can linger on. With a P that has more of an explosive sound, you cannot really make that explosion last longer. So what we do is technically taking a little pause before we pronounce the P. So I'll show you one more time. The one with one P, capello, capello. The one with two P's, cappello, cappello. So once more, I'm pausing before the explosion happens. And that is a hint to the Italian ears that there is a double P. Now let's look at your favorite consonant, I'm sure. The consonant is the R. Very, very different pronunciation between the English R and the Italian R. So we have a pairing of words with one R or two R's. Farro, Farro versus Farro, Farro. I know that this letter has the added complication of having to roll your tongue. It's a sustained sound when it's a double that is really, really tricky to pronounce. So right now I would say first develop that awareness to that will allow you to distinguish between the two words, and then work on practicing, because this one, especially the letter R in Italian, la R, requires a lot of strength. You have to work on your muscles for real. It's like going to the gym, but for your mouth. Farro with one R means lighthouse. Farro. Farro instead. Farro. You can clearly hear the difference, right? Farro with two R's is spelt, is a grain. So Farro versus Farro. Good luck on that one. Leave a comment below and let me know how you're doing with that R sound. It requires a lot of practice, as I said, but maybe I can help you by tailoring a tip just for you. Let's move on to the consonant S, that in Italian has two different types of sounds. So the S or the Z, almost like a Z in a sense. In this pairing, casa versus cassa, you can clearly hear the different pronunciations of that letter S. Casa, that S is pronounced more like a Z. It's a single S, casa. Cassa, now I'm doubling the consonant, the sound becomes soft. Cassa. When I say soft, it means that it's like the S for the word soft in English, but it's doubled. Cassa. How do I double an S? I linger once more, I protract that sound. Cassa. And the letter S, in terms of making a double versus distinguish it from the words that have only one of them, should be easier for English speakers too. Let me know in the comments if that's super complicated for you, but I think that we can all say S. And that is the concept to keep in mind when you pronounce words such as casa with a double S. Oh, and what do they mean? Casa, it's probably a word that you're familiar with, means home or house. Cassa is a crate. And let's conclude today's episode with the last pairing of the day, note versus notte. Note, notte. Note is the plural of nota. Note means notes, like the musical notes. Note. But if I double the T, notte, that's the night. Notte. You might have heard of the expression buonanotte, good night. So notte has two T's when it means night. How do we pronounce the double T? Once more, like as we've seen before with the consonant P, the consonant T as well is an explosive consonant, so the sound cannot be contained. Once the explosion happens, it happens. What we do then is to linger and to pause actually before the letter T is pronounced. Note, notte. You see it, you hear it actually, how I'm lingering and pausing and taking my time before pronouncing the double T. Notte. Let me know how you guys are doing. Once more, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. This can be a bit tricky, especially at the beginning, and especially if you don't have anyone to confront yourself with. If you don't speak with Italians on a regular basis and you're just learning and practicing by yourself, this can be a bit tricky. So my best recommendation will be to record yourself. You can use your phone the voice memo app, for example, on your phone. Record yourself pronouncing both the word with the single consonant and the word with the double consonant over and over again. Another great device at anyone's disposal is Google Translate, which I usually don't recommend to use as a translating device, but it's pretty good at pronouncing single words. So if you type in a word and you're curious about its pronunciation, it's usually pretty accurate. You can use that, then record yourself. And actually, even better, you can record Google Translate saying the word and then record yourself and listen to the recording and see if you're close enough. That's it for today. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel if you're new to it. And I will see you next week. Ciao, a presto!